If you want to have better gut health, then consider using herbs and spices in everything you cook and putting them on everything you eat. Why? Well, a very recent study out of Penn State looked at what do herbs and spices do to the composition of the human gut microbiome. So as part of the test, they took 54 adults who were at risk of cardiovascular disease. That was just their chosen thing they wanted to work with to see what inflammation would change, because we're very inflamed when we're at risk for cardiovascular disease. And they put them in a 4-week controlled randomized feeding experiment. So everyone had roughly the same general menu, but they split people into different groups and had them add certain amount of herbs and spices. So one group added about 0.5 grams or 0.2 ounces of spices to their meals, while another group added 3.3 and another group added 6.6. So we had hardly anything added, a reasonable amount, and then quite a lot. What was this blend of herbs and spices? Well, they had cinnamon, ginger, cumin, turmeric, rosemary, oregano, basil, and thyme. So, and then they even had a control group that put 0 spices in, of course, because we always need a control group when we're doing these randomized controlled trial studies. At the end of 4 weeks, they took fecal samples from everyone from before the experiment and after to have a look at what changed in their microbiome composition compared to what spices they had. Well, it turned out the more herbs and spices someone used, the greater the bacterial diversity they showed, which is a good thing. The more diversity, the better. Think of your gut microbiome as a rainforest ecosystem where everything works together. The more that's there, the better. They also found that the more spices and herbs you ate in the study meant you had lower numbers of pro-inflammatory molecules in the gut, showing an anti-inflammatory effect. Now, this is going to work for anyone, not just someone at cardiovascular risk, although anyone who's inflamed is probably on their way to cardiovascular risk anyway. Hey there, if you're struggling with gut health, I just wanted to let you know about my free Facebook gut health support group. You'll see it on the screen here. Just click the link and you can join that. We cover all sorts of more in-depth tips on what testing to do, how to deal with underlying biotoxins, things like that. So jump in the group. I'd love to have you in there. Anyway, back to the video. The vast majority of us in the Western world have a very pro-inflammatory diet. When we look at our omega-3 to omega-6 molecules in our body and what we're getting from our diet, we want to get those about 1-to-1. Omega-6 is pro-inflammatory. We do need some of that. If you sprain your ankle, you roll your ankle, what happens? It blows up. That's pro-inflammatory. But we also need our omega-3s, which are anti-inflammatory. The problems come in when we have way too much pro-inflammatory molecules and our body's on fire. We want 1-to-1 or no worse than 1-to-4 of the good to the bad. The average Western diet is anywhere from 1-to-25 to 1-to-50. So that's omega-3 to omega-6. So 50 times more of the inflammatory molecules. Why is that? Well, everything is cooked in or made in these nasty seed oils that are full of omega-6 and linoleic acid and arachidonic acid, vegetable oil, canola oil, soybean oil, all these things. And I've got a video on the good and the bad oils to go and watch so that you understand this, because there's certain oils you want to have a lot of. Drizzle extra virgin olive oil or MCT oil over anything you eat. It's great for you. Never eat anything, if you can help it, that's got vegetable oil or canola oil in it. So because the Western diet is so poor, we all tend to be too inflamed. So herbs and spices clearly are going to lower that inflammation while also just improving the diversity of your microbiome, which is going to help seal the leaky gut that so many people deal with. And so it almost becomes like the natural prebiotic that you feed to these bacteria in your gut. You should still eat some good prebiotic foods as well, but herbs and spices are going to add to that. So it's a nice, easy, simple, cheap health hack to improve your gut health, which will improve your overall health.